My mom tried to throw me a surprise birthday party, but I've always known she doesn't actually love me and loves my stepsister more, so I laughed in her face and will never speak to her again. Posted by you/tasty_word_2747. A little background: my mom and dad separated when I was 6 and went their separate ways. They had joint custody of me, but they both started new families. When I was 9, my mom married a man, let's call him Robert, who already had a daughter, let's call her Kira, who was 2 years older than me. My dad got engaged when I was 8 to a wonderful woman, let's call her Layla, whom he married when I was 12. My relationship with Layla is beautiful. She has truly been a mother to me. She basically helped my dad raise me, takes an interest in my life, comforts me, advises me, shares common interests with me, and we do many activities together. She and I recently talked about the possibility of her legally adopting me as soon as I come of age. Doing so now would be a bit messy legally because of my parents' joint custody, because, to me, she is my real mother, and I want it to be official. My relationship with my biological mother, on the other hand, is almost non-existent. Even though I was required to spend specific days with her, we never managed to bond because she spent all her time giving attention and affection to Kira, who already has her own mother. Even when she tried to involve me in some activities, she always included Kira, and we had to do only what Kira liked. At a certain point, I started declining her invitations and often asked if I could avoid going to her on the set days because I was almost always ignored or left aside, and I preferred to stay at home with my father and Layla. My father always tried to understand me, but he also had to honor the rules set by the judge. When I got older, he admitted that he was afraid my mother might make some mean move in court if he agreed to let me skip going to her on the appointed days, and, yes, this is something my mother would do. After learning this, I understood my father's reasons, and I absolutely didn't want to put him in trouble. So, I stopped making such requests and respected the schedule. Now, let's get to the point. In 2 weeks, I will finally turn 18. I was lucky because my birthday falls on the days I stay with my dad, so he, Layla, and I started planning my birthday a month ago. It will be nothing too crazy, just a party with family and friends at my favorite pizza place, a casual night where I just want to have fun with the people I care about and do what I enjoy. The place also has karaoke, and I love singing. Of course, after booking and setting everything up, we sent out the invitations, including one to my mother. Honestly, I didn't really want her there, but I figured this would actually be the last time I was obligated to involve her since, once I turn 18, I won't have to follow the judge's rules anymore. We sent out the invitations 2 days ago and have already received almost all the responses, allowing us to finalize the exact number to confirm with the pizza place. The only thing missing was my mother, who saw the text but did not respond. I told my father that I wouldn't insist. If she didn't respond, it meant she didn't want to come, and I was fine with that. I think my father was also a little relieved by the idea. Even though he didn't say it openly, I could see it on his face. Anyway, the drama started this afternoon. My mother called me, very angry, accusing me of being childish and saying I shouldn't have planned anything without telling her first. This left me a little confused, and I reminded her that I have always planned all my birthdays with Dad and Layla. Most of the time, she didn't even remember, so complaining now was quite hypocritical. This made her even angrier, and she started attacking me, saying that Kira had been crying ever since I sent the invitation to my mother because she had already planned an entire birthday party for me. I was completely speechless because the relationship between Kira and me is non-existent. She is the classic spoiled brat who always wants to be the center of attention, and my mother has always supported her behavior, making it worse. Clearly, she and I have never gotten along. I just couldn't understand why on earth Kira would want to organize a birthday party for me. It didn't make any sense. I asked her why Kira did it, and especially why she did it without telling me. I mean, did she really think I wouldn't make any plans for my 18th birthday? It was ridiculous. My mother said it was supposed to be a surprise, and since I hadn't told her about my plans, she assumed I didn't want to do anything for my birthday. And I mean, she could have asked, right? But no. Then came the worst part, the part that, I admit, made me lose my cool. My mother started listing all the things Kira had prepared for my party, maybe to rub it in my face what I would be missing, and they were all Kira's favorite activities. Things I didn't like at all. She had booked a fish restaurant for lunch, and I don't eat fish. Not because of some whim, but because it makes me feel sick. Just the smell of fish makes me nauseous. I'm not allergic, I've had it checked, my body simply rejects it. She also planned an afternoon activity at a ranch near the city where my mother now lives, where you can ride horses. And, well, I don't like it. I have nothing against horses in particular, but the idea of riding one or getting really close to such a large animal scares me. Then she planned to go back to my mom's house for a backyard barbecue for dinner, which I definitely didn't want to do because I don't want to spend more time with my mom than absolutely necessary. My mother also mentioned that they had already sent out invitations to everyone. At that point, I was completely speechless, but I had to ask her who they had sent them to because my friends, my dad, and his family hadn't received anything. It turns out the guest list was mostly Robert's family, my mom's family, and Kira's friends. I mean, it was basically a party organized by Kira for herself under the pretext of being for my birthday. So, I didn't hold back anymore. I laughed in my mother's face and hung up the phone. It was all too ridiculous to be true, come on. A little while ago, my dad came to talk to me, saying that my mom had called him, furious because I laughed at her when she told me about the party they had organized for me. He seemed upset and started saying that, despite my feelings toward my mom, they were trying to do something nice for once. I stopped him right away and explained in detail how the party had been organized, a detail my mom had apparently left out when she spoke to him. His expression changed quickly, and he just said, "I'm going to make a phone call." Now, I've been hearing him yelling at my mother for at least 20 minutes straight. Layla came to me after hearing about the situation and said that, while she could relate to my frustration, I was a bit rude to laugh in my mother's face and hang up without explaining. From her perspective, I should have spoken out like an adult, regardless of my feelings, and tried to sort things out in a civil and mature way. She wasn't angry, just a bit disappointed in how I handled it. After she left, I started reflecting on my actions. Maybe I was a little hasty, but honestly, I don't think talking to my mom would have helped the situation. Still, I'm beginning to wonder if I could have handled it better. Update 2 days later. Okay, I didn't think my post would get all this attention, but thank you all for the good wishes and words of comfort. I read all your comments and decided to follow some advice. First of all, I talked to Layla about my reaction to my mother. Layla raised me to value the importance of communication and always encouraged me to talk about my problems so I could solve them, so I understand where her comment about my behavior came from. I also shared my point of view, explaining that the situation my mother was describing was so absurd that laughing was the only natural instinct I had. While my mother was talking, at some point, I thought, is this a joke? Or some sort of bad prank? Is she making this all up? Because her nonsense was absolutely ridiculous. Layla said she understood me, and, as many of you have mentioned, she just wanted me to realize that there will be situations in my life where I can't simply laugh and hang up the phone. She was genuinely concerned about my reaction. Anyway, we managed to clear things up between us, and I'm happy about that. I also talked to my dad about the phone call he had with my mom. Apparently, my mom had an excuse for everything. She said that Kira just wanted to do something nice and sisterly for my big day, that she wanted to share her hobby, riding horses, with me, and that she never thought my fish problem was a real issue but just a whim. She claimed the restaurant they had booked served the best fish around. That last one is a blatant lie because, when I was little, I threw up a couple of times in front of my mom simply because we went somewhere that smelled strongly of fish. She knows very well it's a real issue for me. My dad retorted that nothing they had prepared had been done for me, pointing out that Kira had clearly planned the party for herself. He asked, "What kind of party is it for me if none of my important people are there?" My mother didn't respond to this, she just started ranting that I was ungrateful and spoiled. At that point, my father told her to go to hell and hung up the phone. After hearing this, I decided to follow another piece of advice you gave me and wrote a message to my mother. This time, I chose to be mature and compose the message as politely as possible. I apologized for laughing, explaining that what she was saying was so ridiculous that it was the only reaction I could manage. I reminded her that she had never put any effort into building a relationship with me, that she doesn't know me at all, and has never cared to get to know me. I concluded by saying that, since the birthday party Kira organized only included things that Kira liked, they could enjoy it together with their family and friends. I also told her that her invitation to my pizza party was withdrawn and that she shouldn't bother showing up, as she had already made it clear with her last phone call where her priorities lay. I explained that I was now making my priorities clear as well, and she was absolutely not on my list. I told her that I already have Layla as a mother, and I couldn't be happier with her. I concluded by wishing her well with her new family and asking her not to contact me again. She read the message but didn't respond, and I'm fine with that. If she were to respond, I'm sure it would just be more complaints about me being ungrateful and spoiled. I know that talking to her is useless, she either wouldn't understand or would pretend not to understand. However, clarifying things once and for all has brought closure to the situation, at least on my side. I feel a sense of resolution, and I thank you all for that. I probably would have just given up and ended contact with her after my 18th birthday without saying anything, but your comments helped me realize that a firm, definitive end was necessary. For those who asked how my mom could throw me a surprise party when I wasn't with her, my dad asked her the same question, along with asking how she could possibly think he wouldn't throw me an 18th birthday party. He took that a bit personally, lol. She explained that they had planned for Robert to come get me on the morning of my birthday, explain the situation to Dad and Layla, and then take me to her house under some pretense. Honestly, I don't know how they thought that would work. I would have flat out refused to go to my mother's if it wasn't one of our scheduled days, no matter what excuse they came up with. Most of all, I would never have left Layla and Dad to go to my mom's on my 18th birthday. It might have been different if my mother and I had a good relationship, but that was definitely not the case. In all of this, the only person I don't feel like blaming is Robert. We never had a close relationship, but he was always polite to me when we lived under the same roof. He even cleared out his study so I could have a permanent room at his house when I stayed with my mother. We didn't develop any kind of stepdaughter-stepfather bond, but he always tried to be kind to me, so I don't hold him responsible for any of this. It's likely that he genuinely thinks the party is for me. We don't know each other well enough for him to know my tastes unless my mother told him, though I highly doubt she did. Luckily, I didn't leave anything of mine at my mother's house either. All my belongings are permanently at my father's house. Usually, I would pack a suitcase with the things I needed for the days I stayed at my mother's and then bring everything back with me when I returned to my father's. I never felt comfortable leaving anything there because Robert's family and Kira's friends came over often, and I didn't want to risk leaving anything of mine out in the open for strangers. Well, that's it for now. I hope my mom respects my wish to go no contact and doesn't bother me anymore. I'd also like to bring up the adoption conversation with Layla after the holidays. She seemed really happy when we first talked about it. Thanks again, everyone, for your kind words and advice. Your insights have helped me better manage the situation. I can understand that I'm still a little immature, but I feel this experience has helped me grow a bit and see the issue from different perspectives. Wishing you all the best. Second update 12 days later. Since many people were asking for an update, here I am. My birthday was yesterday. We celebrated at the pizza place as planned, and we had a lot of fun. Sorry to disappoint those hoping my mom would show up and make a scene, but luckily, nothing like that happened. However, it seems some drama did happen at her house. A few days after I posted the first update, Robert called my dad. I wasn't there, so from here on, I'll just share what my dad told me. My mom didn't tell Robert about our argument or the fact that I wasn't going to the party Kira organized. Instead, she told him that the plans had changed and that Robert wouldn't have to pick me up on my birthday because my dad was supposedly driving me to her house. I don't know what she hoped to achieve by lying like that, but my mother's mind works in mysterious ways. Robert didn't realize it was all a lie until he picked up my mom's phone and read the last message I had sent her. At that point, confused and realizing something wasn't right, he decided to call my dad to find out what was going on and if he was really supposed to drive me to her house. My dad told him everything, what had happened, why I had sent that message to my mom, why I wouldn't be attending the party, and that no, he wasn't accompanying me to her house. He also let him know that my mom had lied to him. Robert apologized for how things had turned out and said he genuinely believed the party was for me. He had no idea Kira had planned everything and specifically chosen things I wouldn't enjoy. He also mentioned he would take care of it and asked my dad to say goodbye to me. A few hours later, my mom called me, but I rejected the call and permanently blocked her number. I don't want to hear anything more about her or her drama. I wasn't sure what happened between her and Robert that prompted her to call me again after days of silence, and after I told her not to contact me anymore, but I had a guess. My mom doesn't work, she left her job after I was born and never went back. Robert is the only one bringing money into their household, so he would have been the one to pay for everything Kira planned for the party. I figured that when he told my dad he would take care of it, he meant canceling everything or refusing to pay for it. This theory was confirmed just yesterday morning. I received birthday greetings from my aunt and grandmother, as I do every year, and they also sent me a nice sum of money as a gift. After the birthday message, my grandmother added that she was sorry my party had been cancelled but understood the reason after Robert explained it to her. So yes, Robert did cancel everything, and he even told everyone why. This must have pissed my mom off a lot, I guess, lol. Anyway, my dad read my grandma's message and suggested inviting her to the party we were having that night. I was hesitant because, as I mentioned in a comment on my previous post, we don't have a close relationship at all. But then I thought, why not? She's still my grandma, and it's not like she's ever been mean to me. So I replied to her message, invited her, and she accepted. Honestly, it wasn't bad having her there. She even participated in karaoke with me, and we had fun. We left the pizzeria late, so she ended up sleeping at our house, and this morning, she even made us breakfast. I don't know if our relationship will change after this, but for now, I'm happy. It's nice to finally have a grandmother, even if it took 18 years to get to this point. Thanks again for your advice, words of support, and the private birthday greetings over the past few days. Sorry I didn't reply to everyone, but please know that you all warmed my heart.